I am on the phone with singer-songwriter, Mr. American Pie, Don McLean. Don, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to coming out there.
Do your travels bring you to Colorado very much?
Well, I'm always rambling around. I've been to Colorado plenty, all different places, yes. But I wouldn't say a lot, no. I like it. I live in Maine, so I don't live in cities. I love places like that.
Of all places, how did you end up in the state of Maine?
Well, I live in Maine. I was born in New Rochelle, New York, which is just outside of New York City. So, I was well acquainted with New York City, and I was brought up in a suburb of New York City. But something about where I lived, they had a large wooded area, a big forest area that I used to spend a lot of time in as a kid, and I loved it there. And when I got a chance to start out in the music business, I went up the Hudson Valley and worked on a boat with Pete Seeger, and I loved it up there. I loved the country and the woods, so that place got a little bit too built up for me after about 20 years, and I moved north to raise my kids in Maine, and just outside of Portland, Maine, about an hour away. And that was the best move I ever made. And when I'm there, I have a pretty big place. It's about 175 acres, and I've got horses and stuff like that. So I stay outside mostly.
A member of the National Academy of Popular Music Songwriters Hall of Fame. Don, of all the songs you have done, performed, recorded, written, what's your favorite? What is Don McLean's favorite song?
I guess it's American Pie, because it means so much to so many people, and it's been so interesting to follow the career of that particular song, the many things that have happened to it. I could write a book about that almost.
How long, Don, did it take you to write American Pie?
That was written over the course of about 3 months, but in very short spurts. I quickly wrote the first part, and then I wrote the chorus elsewhere, and then the body of the song took about, a half an hour, and I had it. And but the thing was that we made a good record of it, so that was important.
When you put your pen down, when you finished writing that song, or was it a typewriter, or what did you write on back then?
Well, I had a small little typewriter, a little portable plastic deal, and I used to sit in a chair with rockers on it that was an old school chair. And there are pictures of me around that have been were taken back in those days. And that's how I wrote songs. I still have that chair.
Do you really? That's awesome. Okay, so you're done with American Pie. You finished writing it. Did you have any kind of thought in your head that this is something special?
Well, I had never had anything special before happen to me, so I really didn't. But I knew I had written a song that I liked, and that I felt captured the complex idea that I had in my mind.
How many songs have you written in your lifetime?
Hundreds.
After American Pie went to number one, at what point did you realize, hey, I am a star?
When I got a check for $1 million from the record company. 1972 money, too.
And what did you do with all that money?
Well, I realized that I could buy a house and pay for it, and which I did very reasonably. I didn't buy an expensive house. I bought a lovely house, which I owned for almost 30 years. And that was really my goal, which was I had hoped that I could play around, and make a living and not have to take a straight job, which is my metric for success, which I never did have a straight job, so I guess I feel I'm successful. But, to have a house that I could afford the taxes on and pay for, and live a life without, looking back anymore. Everything was going to be good.
We're talking with Don McLean. Don, what can we expect Friday night at the Avalon Theater in Grand Junction?
A dynamic show. It's going to be rock and roll. It's going to be loud sometimes. It's going to be very quiet sometimes, with me just with the guitar or me singing with the piano. But it will be dynamic, and I think it will be satisfying for the audience. It will be at least an hour and a half, and I hope to send everybody home happy.
Don, we look forward so much to having you in Grand Junction. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to be with us here on Kool 107.9.
Well, thanks for having me on your show.